Let's talk about something that happens to millions of women, but is so often kept in the dark: how menopause affects sexual health. It's a huge part of the experience, but for way too long, it's been a taboo topic. Well, in this explainer, we are definitely bringing it into the light, looking not just at the challenges, but more importantly, at the solutions.
Okay, let's just start with a number that puts this all into perspective: between 55 and 75%. That's how many women going through menopause deal with at least one symptom of a condition called genitourinary syndrome of menopause. We'll just call it GSM. So yeah, this isn't some rare thing. It's incredibly common.
And this is the part you really need to hear. This quote from Dr. Lin gets right to the point. You know how we often think of menopause symptoms like hot flashes as something that'll eventually just go away? Well, these sexual health changes don't work like that. They're chronic and they're progressive. That means ignoring them isn't really a great strategy.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to dive into the unspoken impact of menopause, get a handle on what GSM actually is, explore why it's not just a hormone issue, open up a whole toolkit for solutions, and finally talk about how to take charge of your intimacy. All right, first up, let's get right to the heart of what's happening inside the body. Because at its core, these changes are physical, and they're a direct result of the huge hormonal shifts that define menopause. So what's the culprit here? Well, it really all boils down to one thing: estrogen. You can think of estrogen as the hormone that keeps the tissues in the vagina and bladder super healthy, strong, elastic, and well lubricated. As your ovaries produce less and less of it during menopause, those tissues can get thinner, drier, and way more fragile. And that right there sets the stage for everything else. Okay, so all these different symptoms that can pop up, they actually have a medical name that you're going to hear more and more: genitourinary syndrome of menopause, or GSM. It's a much better term because it captures the full picture of what's happening to both the genital and the urinary systems. And this isn't just some minor annoyance. As this meta note highlights, these symptoms can have a major impact. We're talking about things that can seriously affect your quality of life, your confidence, and even your relationships. So let's get the official definition on the table. GSM is a chronic and progressive condition. Remember those words? It's not a one-and-done thing, and it tends to get worse if you don't treat it. And it's all because of that drop in estrogen affecting that whole genitourinary area. Now, GSM isn't just one single problem, right? It's more like a cluster of issues that fall into three big buckets. You've got vaginal symptoms like dryness and irritation. Then there are sexual symptoms like painful intercourse, and by the way, the doctors speak for that is dyspareunia, and just knowing that word can be super helpful when you're talking to a professional. And of course, decreased libido. And finally, urinary symptoms like feeling like you have to go all the time or getting infections over and over. You might have symptoms from just one of these areas or from all three. Okay, so we've got the biology down. It's a drop in estrogen. Case closed, right? Well, not so fast. The story of sexual health during menopause is actually way more complex than that. And this leads to a really big question, doesn't it? I mean, if the hormonal changes are pretty much universal, why is it that some women have a really tough time with this, while for others it's not as big of a deal? What else is going on here?
Well, it turns out the answer isn't just in our bodies, it's also in our minds and our lives. A fascinating study from 2019 found something pretty mind-blowing. The #1 predictor of sexual function wasn't hormones. Nope. It was what they call psychosocial factors.
And what are these factors? This is really the hidden key. The study found that things like how happy you are in your relationship, how much emotional support you feel you have, your general sense of optimism, your self-esteem, your overall satisfaction with life, all of these things play a massive role. It means our mental and emotional health is just as critical as our hormonal health. Now, hearing that it's this big, complicated biopsychosocial issue might sound a little overwhelming, but it's actually fantastic news. Why? Because it means there isn't just one way to tackle it. We've got a whole toolkit of solutions we can turn to.
So, when we talk about medical treatments, they basically fall into two main camps. On one side, you have non-hormonal options. Think over-the-counter moisturizers and lubricants that tackle the symptoms directly. On the other side, you've got hormonal therapies that go after the root cause by replacing some of that missing estrogen. Both can be super effective, and what's right for you totally depends on your symptoms and your personal health history. And hey, beyond medical treatments, there are so many powerful things you can do yourself. Regular sexual activity, and that includes with a partner or solo, is so important. It gets the blood flowing and keeps those tissues healthy. And this is a classic and very real case of use it or lose it. Things like pelvic floor exercises, talking openly with your partner, and just taking care of your overall health are all huge tools in your wellness toolkit.
So let's tie all of this together. This is where we talk about putting it all into practice. It's about being proactive and feeling empowered to manage your sexual health through menopause and for all the years that come after. So, what's your game plan? What's the path forward? Well, it all starts with talking to a doctor or a healthcare provider. Please, don't be embarrassed. This is a real medical issue. From there, you can start exploring all the things we just talked about. But notice how communication and overall wellness are right up there with the medical treatments. It's a truly integrated approach.
I really want to leave you with this powerful statement. No woman should settle for pain or bladder problems just because she's getting older. This isn't some inevitable part of aging that you just have to suffer through. GSM is a treatable medical condition. Pain is not normal. You deserve care. So the final takeaway here is this. Menopause might change the landscape of sex, for sure, but it absolutely does not have to mean the end of intimacy. Maybe the real question isn't just about how to fix the problems, but how we can use this transition as an incredible opportunity to redefine what intimacy and pleasure even mean to us, completely on our own terms.